Today, we're going to jump into a world built, well, literally out of digital blocks. It was a place where art, music, and community all crashed together on the blockchain. This is the story of an indie metaverse, its pioneers, and yeah, what happens when the party's over. All right, I want you to picture this. It's 2024. You teleport into this blocky, super vibrant nightclub. You see avatars dancing all around you, you've got live electronic music just pumping through your headphones, and digital art is literally pulsing on the walls. And this wasn't some video game. No, this was a scene. It was a real community, a whole new frontier for music.
The energy back then was just electric, you know? The promise felt huge. But what's a digital world really worth when all the crowds log off and that booming market suddenly goes quiet? That's the big question we're really digging into today.
Okay, so first things first, let's establish the where. Because all this stuff wasn't happening in some world owned by a massive corporation. Nope, this was a bootstrapped, totally indie experiment. The platform was called Cryptovoxels, though later it just became Voxels. The easiest way to think about it is like a Minecraft-style world, but, and this is the crucial twist, it all runs on the Ethereum blockchain. So what does that mean? It means you could truly own your little plot of land and everything you built on it. It was a unique digital asset, an NFT.
So the whole promise of Voxels was just radically different from what we're used to online. It offered true digital ownership. You weren't just renting space. And the creativity? It was permissionless. Anybody could build anything without having to ask for approval. Plus, because it was all browser-based, it was super accessible, and it just quickly became this haven for artists and all kinds of indie creators.
And this contrast, this really gets to the heart of the whole thing. On one side, you have the user-owned, build-whatever-you-want world of voxels. And on the other, you've got the corporate metaverses, all built on company servers with gated content and just massive venture capital funding. I mean, we're talking about two completely different philosophies for what a virtual world could even be.
So we have the platform. We have the stage. But a world is nothing without its people, right? So now, let's meet the musical pioneers who really brought these blocky spaces to life.
We're going to follow two key figures who looked at voxels and didn't just see a gimmick, they saw a genuine stage. First up, we've got the founder of an Afrobeats record label, and then we have an electronic music DJ who was building this incredible charitable rave space.
So let me introduce you to Idris Busari, the founder of Rescue Records. Now this is a guy who saw the music industry shift from CDs to streaming and was absolutely determined not to get left behind by the next big wave. So he actually established a headquarters in Voxels, and his goal was to bring Afrobeats to Web3 and create totally new revenue streams for his artists.
At pretty much the same time, you had DJ Shark Anthony. He was hosting these live electronic sets in a venue called the Afrodroids Lab. And the whole space was inspired by an Afrofuturist NFT project, and get this, a portion of its sales actually went to support a charity for young girls in Nigeria. It was music, art, and social good all rolled into one. Just amazing.
And listen, this scene was absolutely thriving. Just look at the variety here. You had the Rescue Records R&B bash that drew in over 100 people. You had the Afrodroids raves. There was a full-on music video festival. They even had a virtual pool party at the Africa Museum of the Metaverse. I mean, this wasn't just some curiosity. It was a real, living culture.
But you know how these things go. Just as all this creative energy was hitting its absolute peak, the wider market forces, the stuff that was fueling this entire experiment, they began to shift. Dramatically.
This timeline, man, it just tells the whole story. Voxels launches in 2018, and by 2021, right at the peak of the NFT craze, it pulled in over $22 million in revenue just from land sales. But then came the 2022 crypto winter. The market just crashed, land values plummeted, and by early 2026, the founder announced he was stepping away.
So why? Well, a really big part of the answer comes down to this number. It cost about $1 million a year just to keep the servers for this whole world running. So when the revenue from land sales just completely dried up during that crypto winter, it became an impossible burden for a bootstrapped project like this.
The founder, Ben Nolan, was super open about it. He said after 8 years, he was just burned out. And that combination of crazy high costs and fading hype left the platform at a huge crossroads. It was either the community figures out a way to take it over, or the servers might just go dark for good. Which, of course, brings us to today. The hype is gone, the tourist crowds have all left. So what's actually left of these digital worlds and the communities that poured their hearts into building them?
This quote from Idris Busari at the start of 2026, it just says it all. He logs into his virtual record label headquarters, and after dealing with some glitches, he finds that it's been fixed. The world is still there. Someone, somewhere, is still working to keep the lights on. I mean, what an incredible sign of resilience.
So this is the reality of Voxels now. A small but really die-hard community remains. And the platform's entire future pretty much depends on whether that community can organize itself to take over. Maybe as something called a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, where the users themselves get to vote on the future of the project. And the pioneers, people like Idris and Shark Anthony, they're exploring other platforms. But their original creations, these incredible monuments to a moment in time, they still stand.
And that leaves us with this final thought. When a digital world isn't a hot investment anymore, what's its value? Is it in the technology? Or is it in the art, the memories, and the communities that were built there, block by digital block? What do you think is worth preserving?